Welcome back to my channel, and today I want to show you how to change the motor of CX10 Cheerson series micro drones. In my case, I do have here CX10WD, but before we go any further, I want you to pay attention to a few things. Most of you probably already do know this thing, but if you do not know, you have to pay attention on the direction of the spinning direction of the motors. So the front left and rear right motors are clockwise spinning motors, and front right and rear left are anti-clockwise spinning motors. How to know which is which? Pretty easy. If you have a look here, the red and blue wire normally are the clockwise spinning motors, and white and black wire normally are the anti-clockwise spinning motors. Clockwise, clockwise, anti-clockwise, anti-clockwise. And before you watch the video, which I shoot today earlier during the day, there is one little tip here. Before you unsolder the motor wires, what you can do, you can pull the motor out, and this way gonna be much easier to unsolder the motor. It's pretty easy to do because there is no glue attached or whatsoever, and it's pretty easy to install the motor back. So this is the tip. It will make easier solder and unsolder the motor. I have a little problem, and if you have a look here at the propellers, if I blow at each of them, but this one, the top left propeller is not spinning, and actually this motor is broken, and I decided to change the motor. I have a new motor. It's here. The new motor is here. So I decided to make one short video and show you how to change motor on CX10WD. This is Cheerson CX10 series micro drone. So if you have any similar problems, hopefully you'll be able to change the motor yourself. By the way, this is the motor size is 612. So let's start. So first of all, what you need to do, you have to remove the propellers. So let's put the propellers aside. And now you would need one screwdriver, really tiny screwdriver. I think this is Phillips type screwdrivers, like star shaped screwdriver, really tiny one. And then when you turn around the drone itself, you will see here 4 screws. So first you have to unscrew all 4 screws. So the screws were removed. Actually, I did manage to remove 3 screws, and one I unscrewed and it's still inside. It is loose, so that's not a problem. It should be pretty easy to remove the top cover, top canopy. Well, sometimes it happens that some screws actually are unscrewed, but they are still inside, but that's not normally a problem. Just to be sure, you have unscrewed the screws and they feel loose. So some of them drop, some of them stay. Anyway, the next step is to unpin these pins here. It is pretty easy to do. Let's pin it. And that's it. So after you remove the canopy, this is what you will see. You will see the main board, camera, obviously you'll see the 4 motors, and here in the corner you'll see the motor soldering points. And it is pretty easy to know where to solder the wires, because you have the plus sign here, which stands for positive. So this is positive, and then this is ground. So red and white wires are positive, black and blue are ground. So now what I will do, I will unsolder these 2 wires here, because this is the broken motor. I will remove the motor, put the new motor in, and solder the 2 wires back. So before we go any further, remember to tin the soldering points. In other words, add a little bit of soda and tin the end of the motor wires. It's going to be way much easier than to solder it to the board. And now it's time to solder the wires to the board. So red goes to this here with sign plus, because that's positive, and blue goes to this point here, blue and red. Okay, you can always have a look on the opposite motor and see how the wires are soldered there, to be sure what to solder. And now the new motor is installed, and before we put back the canopy and screw the screws, what we can do, we can turn on the drone and then turn on the radio, link them. The light stopped blinking, and now we can start the motors and see if they all spin. Yes, I can feel the movement. While trying to touch the end of the motor, I can feel the movement that they are all spinning, so it means it is good, and we can install back the canopy, screw the screws back, and it's gonna be the first test flight. And now it's time to fly it, hover it, and see how it flies. But before, you have to examine the frame and be sure that it is all tight here. So the screws are screwed well and tight. So there shouldn't be, like here, there is a little gap. That's maybe a problem. So I have to screw a little bit more. But Yeah, there shouldn't be any gaps left. But remember, do not tie the screws too hard as well. Okay, the gap is gone. Let's fly it.